Hello, everyone, and welcome back. We know that the best thing about conferences are breaks, right? And we're glad to see you're enjoying them. There's a lot of conversation happening, so that's good. And, well, we looked at our watches and we realized, okay, half of the conference is over already, so this is happening really fast. And what happens during conferences is that you get to know people and then you talk with them about what you experienced. How did you like this session? How was this session host? What did you learn in that one? And we decided, okay, why should we have this on the fringes of the conference? We should include this into the formal program. So the next minutes, around a half hour or so, are really there for sharing and for reflecting on which insights you gathered during the sessions you went to. Okay, so this is the official, unofficial program, so to speak. So what I would ask you to do is something which is very simple and hopefully very fruitful. You do the following. You get together with people whom you have not met yet, 3 of them, so you're building groups of 4. And then you're taking around 15 to 20 minutes, I will tell you when it's over, and share, okay, what are my insights so far, what did I learn so far, and what surprised me? Okay, so it can be a very subjective reflection on your side, questions you came up with, aha moments you had. But use the time, you don't need to have ready-made responses, obviously, but use the time for actively reflecting and sharing this process with the others. And what I would ask you to include is this word cloud, which is hopefully, yes, this word cloud from the beginning, when I asked you what are the emotions you come up with when you think about societal transformation. Many of you, as you see, came up with excitement, with courage, with hope, but there was also fear and anger, so very different emotions in the room. And I would ask you to include in your conversations how these emotions played a role in the conversations you experienced over the last hours. Okay? So your insights, your questions, your surprises, you look for 3 people whom you have not met yet, you get together for around 20 minutes, and then I will ask you to come back and we'll gather a couple of perspective and voices. Have fun. Okay, that's 3:20, okay? I really love seeing you in these deep conversations. It's good. But now I want you to come here. Come back to your seats. This is Germany, don't forget. Hi. No, you. Hello. Okay, so thank you for sharing. Those of you who are here in the morning, this is kind of a breathing conference, so people come and go. It's one of the last 2 parliamentary weeks, so many people go to their offices, have to go to their laptops and their phones in between, which is fine. And there's a core who's here. And those of you who were here in the morning heard me basically sketch out a very broad scope we were planning to cover today. We were not planning to find ready responses. We're not planning that this is the last conference that ever needs to happen on societal transformation, unfortunately, I guess. But we said, okay, this is the scope, these are the big questions, and I figure there are a couple of questions that came up in the process of the following 2 sessions. I figure there are ideas, maybe learnings, maybe surprises, and I'm asking you to share a couple of these. You shared them in a group of 4 now, and now is some time to share it with the whole group that is here, and also with the people who watch the live stream. I don't know how many there are. And I have the mic, and I will just wander through the room and just, collect and gather a couple of voices. And I need 1 volunteer who starts, and then it's going to be easy. Who has something to share, whatever it is, an emotion, a question, an insight. Yes.
Hi. My insight would be that I think that the bigger question that I always bring to the table in these kinds of rounds is how do you reach people that aren't already here, that aren't already convinced that we need a new form of democracy and that we need a progressive thinking. And I would say it's very much about community, about creating something that everyone can relate to. And so I think there's a lot to learn from community work, as in go to places where the people already are, or speak to people that don't necessarily are raising their hands first. So that is something I'm taking away.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing. This is actually something we talked about a lot with Sven of Open State, who is here somewhere, among others. How can we build something like a community? And in the end, we haven't really tried. This is still a traditional conference. But of course, this is what we need. We need to start building new networks. And I wish I had heard Indra and Piotr before this day, because I really collected a couple of ideas which would have made it possible for me to do a more community-oriented thing. Okay, who else has something to share? A question, an insight, whatever it is. Yes.
Yeah, maybe to the same topic, because I was just in the workshop you were talking about, and what I really liked was the idea that even if parties are really thinking the opposite, you can always find a topic that they have in common. So there's always something that gets people together and think about one topic together, and create something new, and not see boundaries anymore. So
yeah.
I like that idea.
Thanks so much.
I really love your hotel analogy. I just used it in the group again as well, about playing the game I understood it as one iteration after another, but also that question of how do we play it really differently than before, not just do little reforms here and there. And so I do realize the hugeness of that question on the one hand, and which can make me freeze, but then on the other hand, it allows for space to try things out. And I love that there's so many people here trying things out. It's very inspiring to see, yeah, and hopeful as well. So yeah.
Super, thank you. I see one more hand, and while I walk, I keep talking. One of the things we talked about during the speakers' dinner yesterday was how can we manage to build transformational alliances, something which is more than a majority, something that goes beyond the divides we have in ideological and social terms. And this, of course, is one of the crucial questions how we need to solve, basically, if we want to manage societal transformation. And one of the entry points, by the way, is also the emotions we share. We may be of divided opinion when it comes to the matters of our time, but we may share fear or hope. So this is also something you can dive into and explore, and it will bring more things up that you have in common. So that's really, really nice.
I wanted to share something I took away from the first workshop we attended, and I attended, which was the one in room 1, sorry, I forgot the name, and which is very much as much as I like that we are in a very progressive group here talking about transformation and we are all very forward-looking, I think we as this bubble still underestimate the fact that we have forces in society who want the opposite of that and who actually have a major impact on the majority of the society, and which actually leads us a bit backwards. That's something I wanted to share.
Yeah, thank you. What else? 1, 2 more voices. First row. You make me walk a lot, which is good. Yeah, thank you. Wow, that's transformational. Yeah.
I have one more point. It's actually, it's good that we are here to talk, to open up spaces to discuss, but there is always a risk that, I have an expression that is actually very progressive thing, very left-wing thing, that talking and discussing become a goal in itself. And we meet to discuss, to find solutions, and at the end of the day, we just discuss because we love it so much. So I think it's also important to remember not to forget that discussing and talking is important, but at the end of the day, what matters is taking action.
Yeah. Do you have an idea how you can take action? Or how you're doing it, actually? I think it's good if you can share that.
I'm moving to Dresden on Monday, so I'm actually, switching the structure, the social structure of the city, so to make it a little bit less brown.
Action in a new place. Yeah, that counts. Of course it does. Okay. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, let's not forget about action. I mean, of course, this is just an impulse, and hopefully this opens something up. It builds new networks. But it's not enough. That's not an end in itself. Absolutely. You raised your hand?
Yes.
Yes?
No, I already didn't say it, because in the opening you spoke about radical democracy, yes, but in those sessions I missed this a little bit. So,
okay.
Come up with more radical ideas.
Okay, okay. Encouragement to be more radical. Indra?
So just being in this discussion and picking up the threads, it makes me feel as if, or ask myself, should I be here right now? Because for me, the big shift has to be from thinking to doing, like you were saying. But I love the idea of making. So what are we making? If we were tasked, imagine if we were a task force and we were tasked with making a new democracy. Right, go. I bet we could do it. It's a bit like your game this morning. We could make, well, we probably would call it a game, but actually, what if we had to do it? Make a new democracy. I bet we could do that. How do we shift into that gear? Because we need to.
I think I want to share what we talked about over dinner yesterday, Indra, because we really talked about how different our approaches are. You're out in the field working with people outside of your bubble, and I basically shut myself away in a room where no other people sit and write. And both is fine, right? But it just needs to come together at some point and end in doing. Yeah, that's super relevant. Martin.
Yes, I'm Martin. Hi. I just would like to quote Hannah Arendt in that point, and she said that thinking is acting. And I think there's some truth in it, because sometimes we underestimate what radical thinking would already be, instead of having another harmful impact to our environment. Because what we do right now is acting as mankind with a lot of machinery, and we cause a lot of effect to the planet. And I think before acting again, there should be a real consideration and feeling of and empathy to our environment and to the people we want to have an impact to. So the question is on how to approach that. And another book I'm reading right now, it has the hopeful title, The End. And the undertitle is about cheerful despair facing the ecological catastrophe. And I had a nice conversation in the yard, and we came to the conclusion that maybe it's about accepting also that certain events will happen. And there is a disaster coming. And by accepting that, maybe this is the relief then to have a better energy altogether and really facing and coming together with our stories, emotions, and this will relieve a certain power or energy that will make the change. But before we accept that, maybe there's no chance to really understanding and good acting.
Wow, okay, acceptance, and maybe at some point doing nothing until we actually know what we are doing. Thank you for these perspectives. And I don't want to end this. I think this, this exchange should and can continue. But we'll be having a coffee break of 30 minutes. And I want to announce something because we had to change our program a little. As you know, Minister Giffey will be here, and she needs to go to the parliament to hold a little speech, which was unplanned. So she will be coming earlier, and we will be doing the coffee break, come back here at 5 p.m., and then the minister will speak, and we'll do the wrap-up together afterwards. So please be here at 5, and in case you don't speak German, you can take one of these translation devices when you enter the room around 5 p.m., take it with you, and then there will be simultaneous translation. And the wrap-up will last till 6:20, so everything is a little pushed back a little bit. Okay? Thanks so much. Enjoy the coffee break, 30 minutes. Until 4 o'clock, right? Yeah, 4 o'clock. Okay.